Hello, good morning, everyone. So let's have a quick daily briefing for today and just a quick market recap on last Friday's data. First things, we have the inflation rate for Eurozone yearly basis for the month of June. So previous data is 1% and forecasted at 0.9%. So for the inflation rate for Eurozone for the yearly basis, it's still unchanged at 0.9%. We also have the monthly basis for Eurozone as well, inflation rate for the month of June. So previous and forecasted, it's the same at 0.3%. And for the monthly basis, the inflation rate for Eurozone still unchanged at 0.3%. Also, we have the retail sales for US monthly basis for June. So previous data is negative 1.7% and forecasted at negative 0.4%. But for the actual data, it was 0.6%. So it beats the market forecasted data in the previous one. On last Friday, on the 30 minutes time frame, as you can see here, right after the release of the euro and the US data, it did not create any significant move. But during the Asian session, the current price of the euro dollar is around the 1.1802. So for today, there's no significant news on no significant news on some currencies, but we have to focus on the weekly US and Euro shares. So for today, we have the IBM or the International Business Machines, and on Tuesday we have Netflix. Wednesday we have Johnson and Johnson and Coca-Cola, and on Thursday we have the Intel Corp and Twitter. So to start things off, we have the IBM. So last April 19, they've recorded 17.73 billion for their revenue, which is higher than the forecasted. And also for the earnings per share, it was 1.77. So it's higher than the forecasted as well. But for today, the revenue for IBM is forecasted at 18.29 billion and the EPS is 2.32. But some current activities with the IBM. So they're planning to acquire a company which is based in Madrid. So that company is a Blue Tab Solutions. It's also an IT firm. So the reason why they want to acquire the Blue Tab Solutions is in order for them to extend their portfolio when it comes to data and hybrid cloud consulting. But overall, the financial terms were not disclosed, but the deal is expected to close by the end of the third quarter. On this one, on the 4-hour chart, the current price of the IBM is 138.89, and it created a zone around the or above the 146. And right now, the IBM is approaching our key support levels of this moment. So the possible scenario here is if the price of the IBM retreated on the upside around the 146.5 or 146 level, so we might see a downside right here if we're going to base on the technical bias. So the 146.5 or 146 is a good idea where we can place our sell position. Next thing is Netflix. Last April 20, their revenue was 7.16 billion, so higher than the forecasted as well. And the EPS is 3.75, higher than the forecasted, which is 3.04. But for July 20, their revenue is forecasted at 7.32 billion and the EPS at 3.18. So on the 4-hour chart, the current price of Netflix as of this moment is 530.34. So same thing with the IBM. The Netflix created a zone a couple of months ago around the 550, and right after the price rebound from 550, So the market reacted and it retreated on the downside. So possible scenario as well for the Netflix if the price rebound from 550 territory. So it may go down since this one is the created a multiple zone around here. But right now it's currently approaching our key support level, and if the price may go down to 520, but overall, right here, if the price retreated at the 550, so you may see a downside once again for Netflix. Meanwhile, we have Johnson and Johnson. Last April 20, their revenue was 22.32 billion, which is higher than the forecasted, and the earnings per share at 2.59, higher than the forecasted, which is 2.34. But for July 21, the revenue is forecasted at 22.5 billion and 2.29 for the EPS. But Johnson and Johnson overall is currently facing a problem because some parts of their product, to be specific, the Aveeno and the Neutrogena, which is the spray sunscreens, both products, is actually banned in US. But for SEA, I'm not really sure if this one is available. But in US, the Aveeno and Neutrogena is actually a ban for some supermarkets because the said product was containing a benzene. Now, benzene is actually known for it's actually a chemical known for causing cancer, which is not good for consumers. So that is why the FDA is investigating on how a cancer-causing chemical ended up in a Johnson and Johnson product. So that is why past few weeks the Johnson and Johnson was actually traded lower at 0.8%. Now, right here, the chart for Johnson and Johnson on the 4-hour chart. The current price is 168.01. And a couple of months ago, the Johnson and Johnson made a significant move around the 164. So if the price retreated on the downside and it hits the 164, so there's a possibility that the price may rebound from here. But as of this moment, it's on the way to our key support level around the 168 or 168.7. And if the price goes down to 165, so it may rebound from here. We also have the Coca-Cola. Last outing, they have 9 billion on their revenue and the EPS 0.55. But for July 21, the revenue is forecasted at 9.3 billion and the earnings per share at 0.56, 15. But for Coca-Cola, they're actually planning to change the recipe for Coke Zero because the company said that the Coke Zero still uses the same ingredient and some nutritional information hasn't changed. So that is why they are planning to change the overall recipe for this one. But for Coca-Cola, same thing. It created a zone above the 55 level, and obviously it's way higher to our key resistance level. So the possible scenario here, if the price retreated at 55 level, so it may rebound from here. We also have Intel Corp. The last revenue on April 2020, April 22, the revenue was 18.57 billion, higher than the forecasted, and EPS is 1.39, higher than the forecasted, which is 1.15. But on July 22, their revenue is forecasted at 17.8 billion, and the EPS at 1.07. So on the 4-hour chart, Intel Corp, the current price is 54.97. So it's currently approaching our key support level as of this moment. But right here, a couple of months ago, the Intel Corp made a significant move around the 59 territory. So if the price rebound all the way here, so we may see a downside on Intel Corp if the price rebounded all the way here. We also have Twitter. Last April 29, the revenue was 1.04 billion, so slightly higher than the forecasted. And the earnings per share is 0.16, higher than the forecasted, which is 0.14. But on July 22, the revenue is expected to be 1.06 billion, and the EPS at 0.07 and 2. And during the 4-hour chart, the current price of Twitter is 66.41, and it hits our key support for today. But a couple of months ago, same thing. It created a zone around the 70 level or 69 level. And right after the price rebound from there, it retreated, as you can see. So same thing, if the price of Twitter rebound from 69 to 70 level, so that one is a good position wherein we can place a selling position. But if the price goes down to its key support level around the 64.5, so it may touch the key zone the past few months around the 60 level. So again, for today, there's nothing much. There's no significant news that might affect the some currencies, but we have to pay attention on some market breaking news. But overall, we should also focus on the US weekly shares. All right, so thank you everyone for joining our daily briefing today. Please stay safe and have a great day.